still in progress. Instead of changing the course of history, that ship having long since sailed, President Bush and his minions still trying to rewrite history as of about 2 hours ago, this time over signing statements and Iraq. This week, Ari Fleischer, Bush's first White House press secretary, and William Burke, his deputy White House counsel, both pushing back at the notion that the president, this one, changed much of anything, when on Monday he ordered officials to consult with Attorney General Holder first before relying on any of President Bush's signing statements. Burke called that spin and called it bogus. Fleischer claimed that what President Bush had done was standard practice, even though over 200 years, previous presidents issued signing statements only sparingly. President Bush did so some 1,200 times. Earlier this evening, here on MSNBC on Hardball with Chris Matthews, Fleischer trying to force do-overs on any number of subjects, even floating a patently absurd, almost insane notion that President Obama should be thanking his predecessor for the war in Iraq. Sadly, I am not kidding.
It was in part because of Iraq and in large part because of the economy that Barack Obama won. Having said that, I also think Barack Obama should say thank you every day that he inherited a world without Saddam Hussein in it. The one thing people are going to remember the most is that he kept us safe. We have not been attacked since September 11th. The second is, as I said, Barack Obama should be thankful that he's inherited a world without Saddam Hussein in it. We should all be grateful that we've inherited, that Barack Obama's inherited a world without Saddam in it. I believe we are all better off, and Barack Obama is better off, because Saddam Hussein is no longer in this world or in this Middle East. Yeah, I am proud of the fact we have not been attacked since September 11th, and a lot of people deserve credit for it, President Bush included. But after September 11th, having been hit once, how could we take a chance that Saddam might not strike again? You get a report saying Al-Qaeda is determined to attack in the United States. Well, that's not a surprise. Of course they are. It doesn't say where, it doesn't say when, it doesn't say how. So if you get a report like that, what do? There's no question the administration, the Bush administration, left behind a bad recession for President Obama, just as we inherited a mild recession from President Clinton. As a result of the Bush tax cuts, the 2001 recession was very short, very shallow, and it was followed then by, as I said, record-breaking job creation. We've never in this country had 55 straight months of job creation. We had that under President Bush before the bank failures in September.
Wow. Fleischer had to have been stoned. Let's turn now to our own Jonathan Alter. I'm not going to associate you with that remark I just made. John, of course, senior editor at Newsweek magazine.
You can.
All right. Well, welcome to it. I mean, what was that? I mean, we got the whole thing. He kept us safe except for the first 20% of the first term. We got this arrogant, condescending crap that Obama should be basically sending thank you notes every day to Bush for ridding the world of Saddam Hussein, who obviously was a terrible threat, maybe even outside his own country. Is the idea that the more ridiculous you make the spin, the larger the yield, or is there any kind of reality still required in this equation?
Well, I don't think there's too much reality when you're basically being cast by, cable television as the palookas. What we didn't see in those clips is that Chris Matthews really took him on, didn't let him get away with his patter on a lot of these issues, which is what it is. These folks are all in the legacy business now. A lot of them, Keith, are unemployed. A lot of the Bush veterans can't find jobs, so they have plenty of time to go out and spin for their old boss. He has nothing to put in his presidential museum, except maybe some good work on AIDS, and this idea that he kept us safe, even though on Bush's watch he was warned that Osama bin Laden was planning attacks in the United States. This is one of the things that he said that just blew my mind, that when Chris asked him if there's another attack and President Obama is in office, will you not hold him to account for that? And Fleischer said, no, of course we wouldn't hold President Obama to account for that. Keith, let's make sure that we play that tape if, God forbid, we should be attacked, because you and I know that the Republican talking heads will be all over the president should we be attacked again.
They've already pre-announced that. I mean, Fleischer's just lying. Describing the Bush spin operation, he said previously to Politico today, it is a loose confederation of people united in our belief in what President Bush did, and we're freer now to talk about some things than we used to be, good and bad. What were they doing the entire 8 years before? What can we expect in terms of bad disclosures? When are we start going to hear the good and the bad, emphasize bad?
There are not going to be any bad disclosures. When they say the bad, what they mean is from the podium, Fleischer and the others couldn't trash Democrats. Now they're free to do that. They can go on the offensive when they go on cable shows. So are they going to, fess up to various inadequacies in the Bush administration? Scott McClellan did it with you and with others, but most of them won't. They'll be out there spinning their brains out.
Yeah, the scales fell from Scott's eyes, to his credit, and apparently to his happiness. He doesn't have to go begging George Bush for a job at that at the museum as a greeter or something. But the defenders of Bush's ghost may have more to worry about tomorrow and in the near future than the relative records of Bush and Obama on signing statements and on Saddam Hussein and everything else. Cheney assassination squads. What does that mean, Cheney assassination squads?
An amazing thing happened in Minnesota last night. There was a forum with the investigative reporter Seymour Hersh and former Vice President Walter Mondale. And in the Q&A session, Hersh let slip that he's working on a book that will include reporting about Cheney-sponsored assassination rings, as Hersh put it, that went around the local CIA station chiefs abroad to carry out assassinations on targets using apparently military personnel. Now, obviously, that's very sketchy. We need to know a lot more about it. I think Hersh is going to want to make us wait until his book comes out. But clearly, there's a lot more that happened in that Bush administration directly out of the vice president's office that we don't know about yet, and that, Keith, will curl our hair.
Well, now we know what happened when he shot Harry Whittington in the face. That's probably the result of that. Well, obviously, we'll do a full look at that one tomorrow. In the interim, Jonathan Alter of Newsweek, as always. Great thanks for being with us and joining with my assessment of poor Mr. Fleischer. Thanks, John.
Keith.